Arctic cold arrives this weekend, but our chances for a wintry mix and even snow are going up for early next week. We'll update you on the timeline in First Warning Weather.
Plus, the Central Texas School District is already canceling classes a few days ahead of that weather. We'll ask them what went into their decision.
And TikTok out with a new response tonight about its future after the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the law to ban the app.
First tonight, though, what you need to know ahead of Monday. TxDOT crews are starting to pre-treat Austin roads ahead of what could be some risky driving conditions early next week. City of Austin cold weather shelters are opening tomorrow. They're going to stay open every night until at least Wednesday, and the shelters will be open overnight Sunday through Monday. The Martin Luther King Jr. Community March, that has been canceled, and the festival has been pushed to February 1st.
And tomorrow through Thursday, city parks, restrooms, and drinking fountains in Austin will be off limits. For the regulars at Barton Springs Pool, the pool will open under a swim at your own risk on Monday, and then it's closed on Tuesday. The rest of the city pools in Austin are closing Monday and Tuesday.
As for the state's energy grid, the power grid operator, ERCOT, says right now people are not being asked to conserve energy, but did issue a weather watch because of the high demand for energy. And this cold air that's headed toward us is already producing blizzard conditions in North Dakota and Minnesota. But Nick, you were saying this storm is only bringing us some cold air.
Yeah, we'll be getting the cold from the north, but the moisture for the potential snow and mix is actually coming our way from the south early next week. But first, let's talk about the cold. Not get too far ahead of ourselves here. We've got this cold front moving through North Texas and the Panhandle right now, dropping Amarillo down to 37, Lubbock at 40, I should say. Abilene's at 62, but any moment, I think that temperature is going to update colder as that front is right on their doorstep, and we think it'll be getting through Central Texas during the first few hours of tomorrow morning. Once it moves through, we drop down into the mid to low 40s, even some upper 30s tomorrow morning, but plenty of sunshine should allow temperatures to bump back up to near 60. However, a reinforcing shot of colder air takes us down to 30 or if not the upper 20s to begin Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon will be much colder with highs only in the upper 30s and low 40s. So enjoy the air that we have right now, mid to upper 50s, fairly widespread across Central Texas. It may not be this warm for quite some time. Plenty of clouds still overhead. They're slowly fading, though, and we'll be clearing out our skies overnight, heading down to 44 in Austin as the wind changes direction with the arrival of that cold front. It may actually get breezy at times overnight and especially this weekend. So we'll keep narrowing down the timeline of two surges of weekend cold as we track that wintry mix for early next week that's looking more likely. We'll have a brand new timeline.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Well, some other groups monitoring the weather. Local school districts today, Hayes Consolidated ISD decided to cancel classes on Tuesday.
But as KXAN's Sarah Elshah explains, other school districts don't want to make the decision quite yet.
On Friday, Hayes CISD families received this email from the district. No school on Tuesday for inclement weather, 4 days ahead of time. Writing, quote, our district's corporate weather service has high confidence that we will receive snow on Tuesday. Exactly how much is still an uncertainty, but it is anticipated to be enough to accumulate.
Because we are closed anyway on Monday for Dr. King's holiday, we decided that rather than try to tell people Monday night or Monday afternoon that we've decided to close Tuesday, we went ahead and made the call today.
The district says the decision ultimately came down to an issue of safety for the students and staff.
It's about road conditions, and of course, anytime you have ice or snow on our roads, then that's pretty much automatic grounds for us to close.
Road conditions also on TxDOT's radar. This video showing crews pre-treating roadways in Austin on Friday. Still, several other districts continue to monitor the situation. Austin ISD sent an email to families saying it's working closely with meteorologists and other local entities. It'll monitor throughout the weekend and provide updates as the district learns more. Leander ISD says it will make a weather call on Sunday if needed. Other districts districts like Round Rock ISD, San Marcos CISD, and Wimberley ISD each told KXAN they expect to have a decision by Monday. When it comes to making up the school closure on Tuesday, Hayes CISD says it won't have to.
Now that school calendars are based on instructional minutes, we always build in additional instructional minutes anyway to cover for potential school closures or delays.
Sarah Al-Sheh, KXAN News.
And when it comes to a possible school closure on Wednesday, Hayes CISD says it'll make that decision on Tuesday, which is information you'll be able to find on our website. As more schools adjust their schedules for the weather, check out KXAN.com. You'll find an interactive map of all the school closures in the area. We'll continue to update that as the weather approaches.
The inauguration for President-elect Donald Trump is being moved indoors due to the incoming frigid weather. Temperatures in Washington, D.C. are expected to be in the 20s on Monday with a low of 6 degrees and strong winds. So the ceremony will now take place inside of the Capitol Rotunda. Now, this hasn't happened since Ronald Reagan's second inauguration in 1985. Trump also announced his team has secured D.C.'s Capital One Arena so supporters can watch the ceremony live indoors on Monday.
New tonight, TikTok says it will go dark Sunday unless it's given more clarity from the Biden administration about the department and the Department of Justice. This comes after the Supreme Court upheld a ban on the popular app today. In a statement to KXAN, TikTok said that President Biden and the DOJ, quote, failed to provide the necessary clarity and assurance to the service providers that are integral to the maintaining TikTok's availability to over 170 million Americans. The company says without that clarity, President Biden says it is up to the incoming Trump administration to enforce the ban, and the president-elect has signaled in the past that he would intervene.
Well, we've told you that a test kit that looks for the presence of fentanyl and other drugs is currently illegal in Texas. Well, now some state lawmakers hope to change that this legislative session despite previous efforts.
And multiple bills filed at the Capitol would decriminalize the life-saving kits. These kits can tell people if there are lethal doses of fentanyl in illicit drugs or pharmaceutical pills. As lawmakers push for fentanyl legislation this session, one Texas mom is pushing to increase overdose reporting standards at hospitals, bringing it to a COVID-like level.
If you can't track something with measurable results, then we don't know what works, what doesn't work.
And last session, the Texas House of Representatives passed a bill that would have decriminalized fentanyl testing kits, but it never got to a vote in the Senate. Under the Texas Controlled Substances Act, drug testing equipment is classified as drug paraphernalia, which currently makes it illegal for people to recreationally test.
A former Bartlett Independent School District employee was arrested on charges of an improper relationship with a student and sexual assault of a child. That's according to a letter to the community from Bartlett ISD Superintendent Teddy Clevenger. He said it happened last August and the staff member was immediately placed on administrative leave. Clevenger said the district is cooperating with the investigation, adding, quote, "We will always take the necessary steps needed to ensure our Bartlett community is safe, healthy, and supported."
Texas is sending more manpower to California to help with wildfire response and recovery efforts. The Texas Division of Emergency Management made that announcement today. And some firefighters from Central Texas went to California over the weekend. There's already more than 135 Texas firefighters, emergency management, and medical crews in California. The list of resources includes more than 45 fire trucks, ambulances, and other equipment. There's more progress in the firefighting efforts. The containment efforts at the Palisades fire is now up to 39%, while the Eaton fire is closer to containment, now up to 65%. There are at least 17 people still missing in the Los Angeles area, and authorities say search and rescue teams are going door to door in hopes of finding them. As for the cause, federal investigators ruled out fireworks.
Weight loss and diabetes drugs Ozempic and Wegovy are on the list released today of medications that have been selected for Medicare price negotiations. The list marks the first step in the negotiation process between pharmaceutical makers and Medicare. If the drug makers choose not to negotiate, the companies could face tax penalties. A spokesperson for the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy says the company opposes the negotiations, but will work with the incoming administration to, quote, deliver meaningful solutions for patients. Currently, Medicare covers the drugs for uses like heart disease risk, but not for weight loss. School campuses closing, programs being cut, and school districts around the state pointing the finger at lawmakers with no state funding increase since 2019. And now once again, they're turning to those same lawmakers for help.
But will that funding come, or will they tie it to the controversial education savings accounts? Nabil Ramadna spoke with lawmakers to find out what could happen this session.
With lawmakers back at the Capitol, one of the top priorities this session will be increasing school funding, a topic district leaders and parents say is a must.
The state of Texas is really making it hard for school districts across the board.
Just this week, with Eanes ISD facing a budget deficit, the district announced they'd be closing Valley View Elementary School.
Does the state need to give public schools more funding?
Absolutely.
But what seems like a simple task has drawn controversy. Some Republicans pushing for education savings accounts, while Democrats pushing hard against them.
We have a school funding emergency in this state.
Former teacher and current state representative James Tallarico says this year the focus will again rest on getting Texas districts the money they need. But will ESAs or vouchers be tied to any funding bills? That's the question that remains.
I think we learned our lesson last time when we shot down vouchers and Greg Abbott sabotaged school funding as retaliation. This time we want to separate the two so that our students and our teachers are going to get the resources they need.
But separating the ideas may not be realistic. Senator Brandon Creighton, who led the ESA legislation last session, told KXAN last month that they still plan to get both ESAs and school funding done this time around.
We are all fully intention to lift up public schools with the funding they need and also provide education opportunities that need it most.
He says ESAs are about giving parents and students opportunity and choice.
It is what will set our Texas students up to be the most successful in the future.
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
And this week, to open the session, Governor Greg Abbott told senators that passing voucher-like education savings accounts is key to achieving that goal of improving opportunity for Texans.
I can testify for a fact to the urgent pleas of thousands of Texans to please use your voice and use your vote this session to expand the opportunity for every parent to choose the school that's best for their child.
The Senate speech may have been a preview of what the governor will add to his list of emergency items. He'll announce that list by early February. Lawmakers can immediately vote on bills related to those emergency items. Other items will have to wait until after the first 60 days of the session.
And for some perspective on the education savings account debate, the topic stretched through the last legislative session and the special sessions that followed. And in the end, a coalition of House Republicans banded together with Democrats to defeat the measure. The bill also included money for school safety, teacher pay raises, and an increase in the basic allotment for public schools. All right, well, it's a big day for runners this Sunday. Thousands will run 13.1 miles for the Austin International Half, formerly known as the 3M Half Marathon. We have a look at the road closures for you over on KXAN.com. And Nick, runners, they do like the cold, but this cold?
Yeah, cold to a point, right? And the spectators will not like the cold. It's going to feel like the upper teens or low 20s at the beginning of that half marathon. Let's take you through the weekend as a whole. Tomorrow will be just a little bit cooler than today. We got to 61 today, 59 here tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine, a breeze out of the north, but the sun should help fight that wind and give us one more reasonably mild day. Sunday's when you'll really start to notice the impacts of tomorrow's early morning front with highs of just 42. Here's where that front is now. It'll sink south through the night, get to Central Texas during the first few hours of tomorrow morning and knock us out of the upper 50s. Instead, take us way down into the 40s. You can see that frontal passage, and then here we go. Starting temperatures at 7 Saturday morning if you're out early enough on a Saturday, low 40s and even some upper 30s. But then the sun does its magic. We get into the middle and upper 50s during the afternoon. That's still a cool day, just not all that frigid compared to what's coming. But then a second reinforcing shot of colder air knocks us into the 40s Saturday evening, then 30s turn into 20s by Sunday morning. These are the air temperatures, mind you. It will feel much colder with the wind chill, which we'll talk about in a second. We bounce back into the low 40s Sunday afternoon, and then even colder air comes in for Monday morning. Mid to low 20s to begin the day. Now, when you factor in the wind, of which there will be a noticeable breeze throughout the weekend, it's going to feel like 20 here half an hour before the beginning of the Austin International half. And you can see the teens is how it will feel for most areas outside of Austin. It will feel as good, as warm as the mid to upper 30s at best here Sunday afternoon before it feels like the 20s, but in most cases the teens, even some low teens Monday morning. Wouldn't be surprised if we get some single-digit feels-like temperatures. So we've already mentioned that the cold is coming in from the north, but what about the moisture that's going to give us a chance for some wintry precipitation after the weekend? That's going to start developing near the Gulf of Mexico here early Monday morning. Monday morning, by the way, we expect will be dry. We're now getting our first look from our high-resolution computer models into Monday afternoon and early evening. Notice cloudy, still dry early Monday afternoon. We start seeing some flurries and snow showers developing slowly late afternoon and early evening. 6 o'clock is as late as that computer model goes, but a lower resolution model takes that more widespread snow and covers most of Central Texas late night and into the first few hours of Tuesday morning. Heading late Tuesday morning, drier weather starting to take over, and we're all dry as we head through Tuesday afternoon. So precipitation type, still going to be some uncertainty as we continue to gain higher confidence slowly as we approach the event here. But we're thinking mainly snow from Austin north and a snow, sleet, freezing rain and rain mixture south of Austin. But even here in the wintry mix area, still expecting that things wrap up as snow. So a lot of Monday is dry, cloudy, chilly, yes, but just a 20% chance of a wintry mix of rain, snow, sleet, and probably not freezing rain during the day on Monday. Then as temperatures cool off Monday night, the precipitation starts to expand in coverage. We think those chances for precipitation and now more likely snow go up to 60%. And then after dawn, the rest of Tuesday morning, those chances drop to 30% with drier weather taking over in the afternoon. Still too early to talk specifics on precipitation amounts and accumulation. We'll be doing that over the weekend to get you set for Monday and Tuesday. Right now, accumulation looks light, but it doesn't take much accumulation to cause some disruptions. Those would be most likely late Monday night into Tuesday morning. By Wednesday, sun and clouds, 10% chance for a stray sprinkle or flurry, 44, and in the 50s Thursday and Friday.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good evening, all. Happy Friday. We quoted Cha-Cha Slide at 6, so let's rip some Kelly Clarkson now. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Just a great song as well. Houston Texans have had a lot thrown their way this season, and they're still standing here in the postseason, one of the final 4 teams in the AFC. Texans coming off that impressive win over the LA Chargers, where a lot of people expected them to lose. They fought through a lot this year, has Houston. Some tough losses, some pretty big injuries to some key players, and some bad play at times, especially late in the season. Now they get the Kansas City Chiefs, the big bad Kansas City Chiefs. The scars for the Texans have made them who they are.
We're battle tested as a team, and I think that's hardened us to be exactly in this spot for that reason. Like, we're battle tested and we're ready to go to battle against anyone, any type of way the game can go. We've been there. Unfortunately, we've been on the downside, we've been on the upside, so we know what it takes to win, and that's what I love about our team. Like, we've learned a lot of lessons throughout the season.
Every college coach is going to tell you how great the conference they're playing in is. For Rodney Terry, he's right. The SEC for Texas, or for men's basketball overall, is just insane. So many very good teams, highly ranked. For Texas, it started on the road with A&M, and then they hosted Auburn and Tennessee, the top 2 teams in the country at the time. They started 0-3. Then they went on the road for a rival game against a very hungry team in Oklahoma, also searching for the first SEC win. Texas came away with that win. That was a grinded-out type of victory. It's a long SEC season, but you got to start winning at some point, and Rodney Terry certainly sees his team building.
I thought my guys have played really hard in the first 3 games. Each of those games, we had opportunities to win the game. And again, I thought we got better through losses. We didn't have anything to show for it in terms of the win column, but our team got better.
Longhorns on the road against a top 10 team in Florida tomorrow. Okay, folks, Roki Sasaki. Let's localize this. The Los Angeles Dodgers world champs signed this Japanese star pitcher earlier today. Every Major League Baseball team has an international bonus pool where they can sign players from around the world. Not a ton of money relative to what they spent on some other players. So the Dodgers needed some more. They traded for some more bonus pool money, but they had to actually trade a player to get that money. And who did they trade, folks? Here comes the local part of this. Former Longhorn Dylan Campbell to Philadelphia to get that money to then in turn get Roki Sasaki. Dylan Campbell drafted in the 4th round of 2023 draft. Maybe best known for his 38-game hit streak with the Longhorns back in 2023. Quickly, Texas football news here. Amari Niblack, number 8. Man, I recognize the name. Didn't play a ton this season. Was expected to be more of a force than he was. He is hitting the transfer portal. Maybe more have expected him this next season if he stayed, as the tight end room was opening with Juan Davis and Gunnar Helm out of eligibility. But he hits the transfer portal. Just 5 catches this season in his lone year in Burnt Orange. More sports over on KXAN.com.